Hi. So a few of you have been asking about what course should you do. Should you be enrolling now in MBM or in Diploma of Kinesiology or ICM? We've had quite a lot of questions about ICM. So I wanted to be there with you this week, but I wasn't able to get there. So I thought I'd just record a short video. You can always email me if you have questions. I think if we there's a lot of advantages to each course, obviously, and the reason why we packaged them together, the Diploma of Kin and MBM to begin with, was that we think it's all important. So, look, since we've introduced Diploma in Mind Body Medicine several years ago, obviously with the combined program, everyone did it, but before that, a lot of the graduates of Diploma of Kin came and did MBM. So, I would, assume that most of you will do both. Now, so then it's really a question, okay, which one do I do first? And that's what I really wanted to address in this short video. So with Diploma of Kin, one advantage that it has that MBM doesn't is that while they're both accredited and you can get insurance to become a practitioner and a membership of an association and so on. So they both got that. But Diploma of Kin has the access to health rebates. So what that means is that if you see a client, most of the time they can get, say, about $20 back on the session. If the session costs them, say, $120 to $150, that's a bonus for them. Now, look, in all the years I've been working, I don't think there'd be many clients that would not have come and seen me simply because of the health fund rebates. But for a certain portion of people, it's a good advantage. The other advantage of doing the DIP kin is that I think that would be the one I would do if you thought you only wanted to work on kids with learning difficulties. I think if that was the case, you wouldn't need to do MBM. You could just do DIPKIN because DIPKIN has that really good neuro unit in there, and you don't really need all the constitutional analysis necessarily for kids because kids are a little bit simpler. It's not to say I don't use that with kids, but if you were trying to decide, I think that'd be one thing. If you only want to work on kids and you're not looking at chronic diseases and so on, then I think DIPKIN would work. And the other advantage, obviously, with DIPKIN is that, I'll go into the subjects a little later. With Mind Body Medicine, look, if you want to do the Advanced Diploma of Integrated Complementary Medicine, that's the one to do because it makes it a lot easier to just flow straight into ICM, and you have the capacity, if you do that, to potentially do all three qualifications in 2 years. So it's a much better choice if you want to do the advanced diploma. And in terms of how it works, what sort of work and so on, the two extra subjects that it has that DIPKIN doesn't have really relate to working with chronic diseases, understanding constitutions and what drives illness, which is very important when you're working with adults with long-lasting chronic problems. So, that'd be more the advantage there with Mind Body Medicine. With ICM, if you join ICM in the first year before the end of Subject 7, if you've been doing MBM, this is, then you can also get a diploma of MBM in the same basic time frame, in other words, in the first 12 months, if you do an extra 4 days. So because MBM and ICM are very similar in the first year, we've been able to simplify it down to if you're doing ICM and you want the MBM after a year, it's only 4 extra days distance that you need to do. So it's basically, in other words, ICM allows you to get your MBM, but also seamlessly then move into second year ICM. So the other thing that happens, of course, with ICM, which is great, is that if you're enrolled in ICM, you can basically complete all 3 diplomas within 2 years if you want to pick up some extra units. So, that's obviously a plus as well. In terms of, big differences with MBM and KIN, obviously you got a whole extra year of study. So it's a lot of clinical application in that. You do a lot of case study work, and so it's a different level of learning, really. But it really consolidates what you learn in the first year and puts it into practice in a big way. One of the draw cards, obviously, is the nutritional biochemistry and food therapy unit, because it allows you to be able to prescribe nutrients and get TJ exemption for doing so when you join the association. So that's a big unit, and it's a great unit. The other thing is, with ICM, we have a lot of pathways to degree courses. So with Endeavour now, we've got pathways into 5 different Endeavour degrees, including acupuncture, complementary medicine, and so on. So if, for example, you do the ICM Advanced Diploma, you get credit towards 30 of the 48 units in the Bachelor of Complementary Medicine. So basically, almost 2/3 of the units in complementary medicine, and it would mean that you have less than a full-time year's worth of units to do in order to get your bachelor degree. So that's good. You can also go into the Masters of Acupuncture. A couple of our graduates have done that as well. The Endeavour, so the Masters of Acupuncture is the RMIT. The Endeavour degree in acupuncture is also available. You get pathways into that. There's also Endeavour degree in naturopathy. So you have a lot of choices if you want to do further study once you've finished ICM as well. So that's sort of like the synopsis. But if we look at the actual structure, I think it'll become more obvious. So what we have here is the course structures, and we got term 1, term 2, term 3, term 4. So obviously this is 1 year here. So this is year 1, because there are 4 terms in a year. Now, then I have each of the courses. You've got MBM, ICM, and KIN. So subject 1 and 2 and 3 are the same in all of them. So that's why they're all in one box. So there's no difference. Once you hit subject 4 and 5, and there's a difference between KIN and MBM and ICM. So KIN does energetic medicine, which is the crystals, flower essences, chakras, and so on. And you then do neurological conditions, which is working with primitive reflexes, brain function, and so on. Both of those are very useful for different reasons, really. Neuro stuff is a good thing to do in clinic. You find that you get lots of clients that are interested in neuro work. With facilitating change and enhancing life, what that is a counselling module which applies the constitutional work, and that's really the backbone of our mind-body counselling, because it teaches you to understand the links between different words that people say and their physical problems, and that's the first step in that direction. And it's very good for sort of chronic style disease states. Body psych is the next step along, where we're now looking at using tongue and pulse diagnosis, palpating the body in different areas, understanding what posture means and what it says about my psychology, listening to the tone of the voice and what that means, is understanding the meaning of different symptoms. Like at the moment, you'd be taking histories, and half the time you might ask these questions, but you're not really sure why you're asking those questions. Later on, you'll find out exactly what each of those things mean. So that's body psych. Subject 6 and 7 are the same in all 3 programs. So you only split apart for these 2 subjects, then you come back together, they're the same. Okay. Now, if you're just doing mind body medicine, you would then do clinical conditions, and that's actually the same as for the Diploma of KIN. You also do clinical conditions. So if you're just doing that program, the last subject's also the same. Now, however, I would strongly recommend for anyone doing mind-body medicine, it makes sense to, at this point here, after you finish subject 7, to go over into ICM at that point, because if you go into ICM, you do subject 8, which is organ theory, which is to do with Chinese. It's the last component of Chinese medicine where you really bed down what drives different problems that people come in with. So if they're fatigued, or why they're fatigued, that's what organ theory can answer. And organ theory also gives you ability really to bring together all the components you've got so far. So you get channel theory in subject 3, then you get 5-element theory in facilitating change, enhancing life. You get Bagua theory in that as well. Then you get Chinese diagnosis and body psych. But organ theory finally brings that all together. And that one is a very popular unit. Now, so you come in and do that. Now, in the process of doing that subject, some of the days in that subject are the same as in clinical conditions, so you only then need to do an extra 4 days by distance to complete your clinical conditions subject as well. And so if you do this subject and, it's basically an assignment to complete these 4 days distance, then you actually have done enough to potentially qualify for your diploma of mind-body medicine at the same time. So you obviously can get your diploma of mind-body medicine just following through here, but for just paying for 4 extra days, basically you can get the first subject of ICM completed, as well as completing the last subject of MBM. So basically, if you're in ICM, you can, with a little bit of extra work, finish your MBM within the first year anyway. So anyone who wants to move through, that's the obvious thing to do. Now, of course, you might ask, okay, what about, Dave, if I finish MBM and then at that point I change my mind, I want to do ICM? Well, that's true. At that point, you could come back and do 4 days of organ theory, but you will need to attend class, so it won't be seamless. It's not something that can be done fully by distance. You'd have to join another ICM the next intake, so it would delay you, is what I'm saying. So if you don't want any delays, you want it just to be seamless, this is the point at which you would slip into ICM. That would be seamless then. Okay, now, so that's end of first year. Now, at that point, obviously a lot of people will want to do double diplomas, so how does that work? So in the second year, so we've got here term 5, 6, 7 and 8, okay? So this is effectively the first half of the year and the second half of the year, okay? If you're doing MBM and you want to do a double diploma, well, you've finished your mind-body medicine diploma already, so now you're doing the 2 units of kin that you've missed. So you do neurological conditions and you do energetic medicine, and at the end of that 6-month period, you do them with other classes, you would have your diploma of kin. You'd have a couple of different options with those in terms of dates, and so some classes will be on the same days as what you're currently studying, or you could do it on days that you're not currently studying, or on weekends. So you have a couple of different options there. Depending which option you choose, you either you'd finish it earlier or a little bit later, depending on exactly what you want. Okay, if you're doing ICM, okay, you've finished your MBM at the end of year 1. You continue on into subject 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. By the time you finish that, that's the end of the second year. You then get your ICM. Now, it's different from the first year, because in the second year, ICM is only 1 day a week. It's Wednesdays. It's always Wednesdays. So the second year here, you consistently do Wednesdays, and you do 10 weeks per term. Now, if you're doing ICM though, and you've already got your MBM diploma, but you want to pick up an extra qualification with the kinesiology, you can do that. So what you would do, okay, you're just studying Wednesdays here. So what you could do is pick up on either Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday or Thursday or Friday, you pick up the other 2 units you've missed in kinesiology. So one of those units is neurological conditions, and the other unit is energetic medicine. So like what happened with MBM here, you would, depends on what days you want to pick it up, whether you want to pick it up on Mondays and Tuesdays or Thursdays and Fridays or on the weekends. That would then determine how soon they were done. So this is one option where you do one in Term 5, one subject in Term 5 and one subject in Term 6. You'd have other options available too. So effectively then, if you did that, you picked up these 2 subjects, you could, by the end of year and a half, get your dip kin. So at that point you'd have a dip kim, a dip MEM, and you'd be 3/4 of the way through your ICM diploma. You just have another 6 months to go to finish. Okay, so what about if you did a diploma of kin in the first year? So you finish the diploma of kin and you go, okay, I'd like to do a diploma of mind-body medicine. That's fine. Again, what you would do there is you pick up the subjects you missed, which is body psychology and facilitating change and enhancing life. Same sort of story as with the other ones. And after 6 months, depending on which options you choose, after 6 months, you would potentially be able to have the diploma of mind-body medicine to add to your diploma of kin. Now, what about though you get to that point and you go, hey, that's great. Now I really would like to finish my the advanced diploma. At that point, if you want to do advanced diploma, then you go and do organ theory, and in this term, together with your facilitating change, and then it would allow you then to move into the second year from there. So obviously, if you did that option, you'd have you wouldn't be able to finish until 2.5 years up. So you can see that if you do kin, it will take you longer to eventually finish the advanced diploma, simply because to be able to enrol into the second year of advanced diploma, you do need to have completed body psych and facilitating change, because both of those are important sort of prerequisite units to the second year of the advanced diploma. Okay, so I hope that makes it clearer for you. So I would summarise it that there are advantages to each of the programs, and it depends a little bit on what sort of work you want to do as to which one you would choose if you're only going to choose one. However, for the vast majority of you, it's very likely you'd want to do both, in which case you can get them completed in 1.5 years, and it wouldn't really matter much if you just wanted to do the double diplomas, which one you chose first. But if you want to do the advanced diploma, then I strongly recommend that you would enrol in MBM as a preference, simply because it wipes 6 months off your advanced diploma, because you can complete your advanced diploma in 2 years that way, particularly if you move after subject 7 into the advanced diploma. So, they're the main sort of things you need to think of. So if you have questions, you can email me. It's dcorby@ccm.edu.au. Hope that makes it clearer for you.